Hi, everybody. It's been a minute. Thank you to everyone who showed up in chat as soon as I went live before I even tweeted. You made my heart sing. I am doing the stream tonight. If you just showed up without even seeing the tweet, God bless you. We are streaming the the Death and Return of Superman game for the SNES through my magical, actual, real Super Nintendo. Don't question it. The reason we're doing this is because I have with me my co-host on Fun and Games, Geoff Moonen. Say hi, Geoff.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. It's great to be exploring whatever this is with all y'all.
And we are also joined by the hosts of the Men of Steel podcast, a show I used to edit that I am free from now. No, I'm kidding. But I am still a giant fan of Case Aiken.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here.
And Jmike.
I get to hang out with celebrities today. Oh my gosh.
Stop.
Oh my gosh.
And so I definitely feel like this is the editor of Men of Steel is dead. Long live the editor, because, you know, I'm the guy that's now editing the show, so it's just like, I don't have to do it anymore. I do. And our show. The hell?
And so the reason we're doing this is because we are recording tomorrow a crossover episode that's going to air on Men of Steel about this game, because Case and Jmike are finishing their run of Death and Return of Superman stuff. They did the books, they did the 2 films, and so now the last thing to do is this weird-ass video game. And so that is what we're here to do. I do see Keith in chat. Is this Keith, like, of our very own network, Keith?
Yes, I believe that is
amazing.
His username.
And so I'm going to be playing. We're all going to be running commentary. I am using cheats, because fuck the Super Nintendo. Aw, thanks for the follow.
We should clarify. We decided that we're using cheats because, oh my god, this game is very hard and, like, not that rewarding to be, like, good at. Like, we want to be able to see the game and not just get stuck at the second level every time.
And you know what? Those people that want to put their time in to get real good at this game or grew up with it and are like, yo, man, I know where everything still is, power to you. None of us are those people.
Yeah.
If you want to lord that over us, please do. Please.
Man, this
ain't us, though.
This takes me back. The like moving still images with text on screen is like so a Super Nintendo thing. Some games have done it more recently, a lot of indie games mostly. But like, it's just fun to see this style of storytelling because it's so out of date.
Yeah, but the pixel art is one of the really strong points about this game.
Yep. Siege of the Underworlders.
In the cutscenes, there are some real shots that like look straight out of like Dan Jurgens or like John Bogdanov. And Rambo, for example, is like one of the mutants in the underworld. Although it is annoying just how many Rambos you're going to be fighting.
And so the 2 cheats we're using are or accessibility options, as I like to call them, are Infinite Lives and Infinite Super. Just so if I get really stuck, I don't have to worry about who I'm fighting. The funny thing about beat-em-ups is, like, the idea of doing a Superman beat-em-up seems kind of stupid, but also kind of makes sense. I feel like superheroes translate easily into beat-em-ups. I mean, this was the era of beat-em-ups, and there was this and Maximum Carnage, and there were a ton of, like, comic book themed, specifically comic book run themed, now that I'm thinking about it, beat-em-ups.
Yeah. Well, it's also like NES, the genre du jour was platformer, which works for some superheroes, but not really. But this was like, the arcades at the time were doing this style beat 'em up, and then the SNES was like, finally we can do the arcades. You know, what about power sets? What about power sets? Punch it!
I do have to comment, Regina, by the way, I loved that terrible Home Alone game on the SNES. Like, it was not a good game design-wise, but it was fun to play. I spent hours playing that game.
And I should clarify, my home is sort of like the farm upstate that friends and folks give their old shoeboxes of games they found in the attic, because my spouse and I are avid librarian collectors of video games. And so my friend, like, clearing out his grandparents' house, gave us a box of, like, SNES games with the instruction manuals. And it included Home Alone 1 and 2. So I'm very excited to check those out at some point soon.
This game is already better than Superman 64.
I mean, here's the scary part. This is one of the better Superman games, because there just haven't been very many good Superman games.
Superman 64 is still a game I have not played, but I know intimately thanks to YouTube. And every video game creator on YouTube is talking about it.
Yeah, this is like 15 times better than it, and we're just in the first level.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with this game is that it is too small in terms of its assets. So like the art for all the characters are really good. Like Rambo looks perfect as like a Tom Grummett like art style character, like straight from the comics. But he like there's only like 3 villains per level, and like that's all you're getting in this game.
Right. There's also that little bit of like, yeah, the design of who are you fighting and what is Superman doing. It makes me think of playing the Fantastic Four game on the PS1, which had a lot of other problems that had nothing to do with this, but also a bit generic and meh in terms of like who you're fighting, what you're doing. And they're really going for it on the designs here, but...
Yeah. And there's a lot of good stuff going here. Like, Matt, if you double tap jump, you'll fly.
Huh, no, I won't.
Try tapping it once you're in midair. Or maybe do it really fast. I don't...
It makes your cape go.
Wait, yeah, for a second.
There we go.
Yeah!
Pressing jump again causes you to drop, so that's the other part. And you run a lot faster when you're doing that, and 2, obviously you're flying, so there's a lot of things. You're going to have to deal with that soon. Like, there'll be more flying foes.
See, this is neat, though. Like, this makes it feel like a Superman game now. Except that all the enemies are on the ground.
That will change eventually. There is also the A button is your heat vision, which is really good for these guys because you actually don't...
Oh, heat vision. There we go.
Yeah. So for flying foes that are coming at you, like on those carts, if you just tap them with your heat vision, they'll fall off. You don't actually need to hit them very hard. The heat vision mostly acts as a stun, although you can kill a person with it, but it's like kicking people to death with Luigi's taunt in Smash.
Which I've done, and it's satisfying.
Oh, it's great when you get it off, but it doesn't do very much damage. But it is really good if you were trying to beat this legit. The heat vision is actually essential because you need to, if you tap them, they'll be stunned, and then you can move closer. Because you only get like 3 of those normally in the game, and they don't respawn when you continue.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Can I grab? Oh, I can grab them. Excellent.
Yeah. Grabbing's good. So you ultimately get to play as 5 Supermen in this game, and what's fun is even though, as far as I can tell, like most of it's the same. Like Steel has better reach than the others, and Superboy might be faster. I can't really tell, but like the animations are all different for all of them.
Yeah.
Which is really rewarding.
The sprite art in this game is actually very good. I'm actually quite impressed with it.
Yeah. So Matt, here's a question for you. Have you actually read the comics, The Death and Return of Superman?
So here's the thing: is like I think I have. It's hard to remember because, like, growing up, my dad got me into Batman and Superman by giving me these giant omnibuses of, like, the first, 100 issues. Maybe it was more. They were, like, these thick red and yellow books that I have somewhere in my apartment. And I don't know if that was it or not. But I do remember the event, and, like, I remember reading some of the issues. Like, I remember the one-page spread you were talking about in the Death episode, like, where it shows his cape ripped up and stuff. Like, I remember
the iconic stuff.
Yeah. But I don't know that I've read it cover to cover ever, and if I have, it's definitely been a long.
Well, and then as you mentioned... Well, Geoff, I kind of figured you did, but I was going to say, but Matt, as you mentioned, you were our editor for the episodes where we were covering comics, and I'm sorry that we did this. We went issue by issue. I'm so sorry that we did it this way. Every episode, like, y'all listening at home, like, if you enjoy thorough coverage, check those episodes out, but it's not a skimming of it all. But I was curious, like, for your reactions on some of it, like, seeing played out pretty well, actually, the stuff that we had talked about.
Yeah. And I mean, it was fascinating to listen to in all seriousness. Like, I didn't know a lot of that stuff. And so, like,
yeah, don't kill this guy too fast. I do actually want to talk about him.
About Closter?
Yeah. Okay. So Kloster is like one of a few bosses in this game, and his model is really good. I really like the design for him. But like we talked about this on the show, where this was actually my first introduction to the story as a whole. Like I rented the game before I read the comics. Kloster looks so much like what Doomsday looks like, except a little modeled and whatnot. It really messed with me because he just looks like Doomsday. Also, this is a better. I think I like the Kloster model more than I do the Doomsday model in this game.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the model in the game, but like what they're doing with that like sunflower head of Doom is kind of cool.
I like that. I can also pick up the boss too. Come here. Gotcha.
I like the Velociraptor claw feet. That's pretty good.
And that's straight up what the character looks like in the comics too. It's one of the weird parts about like, well, wait, so Superman was just like constantly fighting giant dudes with spikes at this time in the comics, and it's because it's 1993.
That's fair.
I mean, flying does literally break this part of the game.
Yeah.
Come and get me, you big sucker.
There's some good stuff. Like this game is actually close to like a Battletoads type game. Like there's a lot of like variety.
Complete.
In level design.
Ooh,
I wish there was
a little
more.
Voice clip.
That was me. I did that.
That was Jmike.
I was looking at something else. Well done, Jmike. I like that.
I love the mulleted newsman talking about.
Being of unknown origin, saying from Metropolis, destroying everything in his path. Not even the Justice League can stop it.
Gosh,
that's right.
Comics.
Doomsday had the big old garbage man look.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it has been a while since I read this. Like, yeah, that's right. He had like the big, like the big spaceman by Hefty Bag look. Superman can't stand the counterculture.
This level is so similar to the first level of Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Aw. Man, I played so many beat 'em ups growing up. One of my favorites, I was only able to play in arcades, which I don't think exists anywhere, but the Bucky O'Hare.
Oh yeah.
Beat 'em up arcade game. I used to play it at Chuck E. Cheese all the time. Yeah.
There was a Bucky O'Hare on NES, but it wasn't the arcade game.
And you can play as Bucky, Deadeye, Blinky, and the woman rabbit. I can't remember her name. But like, and I
love Deadeye so much. Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
He was like Daffy Duck with
like, 4 arms and all guns.
Great. But I love beat 'em ups. I mean, like I have the Scott Pilgrim game. I have several copies of the Scott Pilgrim game. Like Castle Crashers is one of my favorite all-time Xbox Live Arcade games. I'm excited. I'm actually going to be interviewing them at PAX East later this month.
Yeah.
Well, and as you said, like there were so many in this era. I mean, like Final, Double Dragon like kind of created the format, but Final Fight I think is the game that like made it like mainstream, like in arcades and everything.
Yep.
But then you get the Turtles arcade games, both the original and Turtles in Time. You get let's see.
You've got the Simpsons game. You've got X-Men. You've got the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And there were so many good comic book ones for that. It was such a good format for it. And I would compare this with Maximum Carnage in terms of like quality of production.
Yeah, the music actually, you know what? The music sounds similar. I would be shocked if it was a similar composer. But yeah, I remember.
I'm gonna check some facts.
I love the music in Maximum Carnage. It's such a great composition.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I hadn't really looked at the skyline, but I actually do rather like that in terms of New York. Like for one thing, the scrolling when you jump and fly is really nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, let's be clear, this is not like a particularly good game, but there's like very interesting spots of quality in there.
Yeah, and
like the fact that you can toss people up against the wall is really nice. Like the throw mechanics in general are pretty good. I like if this game was 2-player, honestly, it would be like really well regarded.
Yeah, because most beat 'em ups were multiplayer at the time.
Yeah.
Except for this and Maximum Carnage. Oh no, Maximum Carnage was 2-player.
Oh, the original Final Fight on Super Nintendo also wasn't. Also, Final Fight Guy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
But Final Fight 2, they fixed that shit.
Yep.
Fly up. Wow, you can get actually pretty high.
Yeah.
See, this is cool though. This looks neat. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of that and put post that later so for those who don't follow me on Twitter or who do and are tired of me,
you got to fly up.
I keep track of all the games I beat on a thread on Twitter, and so I'll have to add this game too. Come on, the fly button doesn't seem to always want to work. There we go.
It's really sensitive to the drop part, so you have to make sure you only double click and don't hit a third time by accident.
Also, it's a missed opportunity that I can't do my special out of flying.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make sense to me.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
it would be incredibly boring in this mode though, with unlimited specials.
Wow, we got to the death really quick. Here we are. Are you really gonna laugh every time you punch me, bastard? Ow.
Yes.
I want to grab him.
Yeah, so the Doomsday model's not that bad, but Clawster just because he's bigger,
better,
just look more interesting. And then a bummer is that we don't really get a lot of bosses in this game.
Yeah.
We don't get Mongol, which is the biggest missed opportunity because I would just take Clawster but reskinned.
Mm-hmm. So I think nowadays
it shouldn't work, but I'm going with it.
it's working. I feel like it'd be super interesting to have the first few levels of this game be a marathon boss fight with Doomsday.
Yeah.
The whole thing in the comic was he was making his way towards Metropolis, and so it's different landscapes, different areas, and Doomsday is almost like a mini boss that you don't fight. It's like Proto Man, or the Breakman, Proto Man, whatever.
Yeah.
In Mega Man 3, you do some damage, he moves further on.
Minor spoiler to what is about to happen. This is not the end of the fight. If you
Good. See, there we go. Great design.
Turned your environmental weapon on you, you jerk.
I love when games let you do that.
I'm gonna try and get the killing, because we can F around a little. I'm gonna try and get the killing blow with the environmental thing.
Mm-hmm. You could probably stun him with your heat vision to lock him in a spot.
Well, I pressed the wrong button, so.
Yeah.
Hit him up. Oh well.
Yeah, if this game was 2-player and you had gotten Supergirl as your other character at this spot, and then that would have been really good, or Bloodwind, but that would be, I think, too big of a pull even in 1994 or whenever this was made.
It's hilarious. Depending on the level you're in, the second player is whichever Justice Leaguer was nearby.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
That'd be great, but they just didn't have the assets for this.
Of course, yeah.
Side note: we haven't mentioned this part. This is made by Blizzard. Everyone.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
This was in fact, I think, their first game.
Yeah, it is. They made a few Super Nintendo games. They also made I can't remember the character.
Well, they did Lost Vikings, right?
They did Lost Vikings. They made Blackthorn.
Blackthorn was what I was thinking of, which is a great Super Nintendo game that was way more advanced than anything at the time.
Quick pause. Who thought of this? It's a street that just goes into a building.
Yeah. The aesthetics, though, remind me of the San Francisco stage in Maximum Carnage, though.
I blame Lex Luthor.
It's probably Lex's fault.
That's why you can take damage, because Red Sun is messing with you right now.
Totally.
I think one of the most fascinating things I've learned about the Superman comics during the time of the Death and Return was all of the stuff going on with Lex Luthor and Supergirl, which I knew none of until I edited those episodes.
Oh yeah.
Lex Luthor possessing his own son's clone or something, and then Supergirl not being the actual Supergirl, but some blue Supergirl. It's just the wildest shit I'd never heard of.
Heat vision the motorcycle. And then you can throw the motorcycle at them.
Aha! Take that.
Man, once when I was a kid, I never noticed that there was an enemy limit in video games, like Ninja Turtles and all that. And once someone pointed it out to me, now I just can't stop seeing that it maxes at 3 characters.
Yep. That you can't get more than 2 characters on screen with the bad guy. Sometimes in some games, if you're playing 2-player, it only has 2 enemies on screen.
Right. Yeah. And that's certainly a reason why this game, this game, it could have been more, and it was just kind of cheap. It was a cash grab early game for them, but
Urban Bohemian in the house. Welcome, friend. I haven't seen you in a while. Urban Bohemian is a badass streamer in his own right here on Twitch.
Hell yeah.
One of the few humans who inspired me to get back into streaming when I had given up on it. We are playing The Death and Return of Superman in honor of a crossover between Geoff and I's podcast, Funny Games, and Case and Jmike's podcast, Man of Steel, which is a Superman podcast. And we are going to record an episode based on this tomorrow that will release next week, Case?
I am modding and botting apparently.
Next week
links.
is the episode for the animated movie for the Reign of the Superman, and then it'll be 3 weeks. Yeah.
Cool.
Matt, as a control thing, your jump attack is really good. It's honestly one of the bigger ways for you to like move around to an attack.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Y'all a little quiet to the game and guest. Okay.
Do you want to pause and adjust?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Who is quiet? I'm quiet? I was just trying to clarify. If it's me, that's much easier to fix. If it's the guests...
The way I read it was you specifically, but I'm not sure.
I will work on mine in a moment.
Yeah, you're a little quiet to the game and guess. It's all one.
Yeah.
Points finger, you. Okay, I got it. Thanks. All right.
Yes, you are the
animated
quiet
movie
one.
Urban Bohemian brought up. I'm assuming they're talking about the Reign of the Superman, which, it's fine. Like it would be if Death.
Is that the one with Adam Baldwin as Superman?
No, that's Superman Doomsday, which is okay, but like is super overshadowed by the Death of Superman, which is just the most brutal, full-on fight between Superman, the Justice League against Doomsday, and he is incredible. And then you get to the Reign of the Superman, which is fine. Like again, it's fine. Like they actually cover a lot of the points really quickly, but there's just like spots where it's like, oh, this would have been like to get it all condensed. It's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of conveniences that they have to take. The Eradicator doesn't really feel like he makes sense.
Is this better now? I lowered the desktop and guests a little bit and boosted me, and I'm closer to the microphone. Hopefully that makes it better.
It certainly makes you sound more commanding.
Yes, Matt Storm.
Well, thank you. What I was going to ask before is I don't know if Urban. I'm going to be at PAX East at the towards the end of March, and I thought I saw that Urban is also going, but I don't know if I made that up. Yeah, there's something about a retro. You are not. Boo. That's fine. I'm sure we'll hang out.
I'm not
against
going
it.
either, and it's killing me inside.
I know Urban usually goes to PAX Unplugged, which is later this year.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, no, look, I get a media badge, and I had the money to take the train out there. Like, I'm splitting a hotel room with like 4 other people. Like, I get it. It is not a cheap thing to do. Yeah, there's something about retro beat 'em ups that I love, no matter how good or bad they are. I like this kind of game. I'm just gonna keep throwing them. This is fun. I don't know how fast
Superman
it'll kill
plays
them.
pretty well. Like,
I like coming up with really bad messages for posting links.
Yeah, folks that have been following Fun and Games for a while may not know somehow, even though we talk about it all the time, that we have a Patreon now. You can join at the $3, $5, and $10 level. $3 level gets our love forever. The $5 level gets a shout out in every episode, and then the $10 level gets you bonus content, of which we've recorded quite a bit already. And I think I'm going to release the audio to this Let's Play as a bonus thing. Although it's going to be on our YouTube channel, so maybe we'll just put it in the main feed. Who knows?
Yeah, so Urban Bohemian's asking about the premise of this game at this point. So the first level is actually an issue of the comic where like there's just a side story or the story that was happening where Doomsday shows up, which is like this like Morlock type group underground was like trying to like mess with Metropolis. So Superman goes in. This part, like, there's no, like, it's just random dudes. They just needed people for him to fight at this point to make it a level and not just like a boss fight.
And is it even like, is it even an old school beat 'em up if you're not beating up like Mohawked thugs with cool names like Slasher, Poison, and Chainsaw?
We actually didn't mention one of my favorite beat 'em ups on the Genesis, which was Streets of Rage 2, which I played an endless amount of times, constantly. Also, I thinking back on it now, I was very attracted to Axel and Blaze, and that explains a lot about me. But you know, that's neither here nor there.
If you want to get into Bara, get into old school beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue like Streets of Rage 2 is competing for best 16-bit beat 'em up. Period. Like the only thing I really think like measures up is like Turtles in Time.
Yeah, I do need to play through Streets of Rage 4. I've played it, but I've never beaten it. I did like the new like kind of almost hand-drawn looking art for it is very good.
Yeah, I do like the comeback that beat-em-ups have been making.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, when we were kids, it was a ubiquitous genre in arcades, and arcades was like a big part of our video gaming experience.
Yeah, no, it was handcrafted to take all of your quarters.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well,
and
and
more.
like this
All
game
your mom's
has
quarters,
sections.
all your friends' mom's quarters.
Yeah,
Urban
absolutely.
Bohemian said in chat, I cannot with Superman squaring up with a boxing stance, which is pretty funny.
Did he die?
Oh, did we both die? Is that what happened?
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Once you beat him, you come together and punch each other to death, and that's supposed to be like the Daily Planet, where like the fight ends.
Yeah,
and like
that
this is some
big
great
moment.
shots right here.
There it is.
Like,
There it is.
Yeah.
The romance novel cover.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Save the city.
Yeah.
Superman gave his all and more. The world will forever mourn this day as the day its greatest hero fell. Who will defend us now?
This is why it's
Well,
handy
and
to have a
then we
voice
get the
actor on
variant
stream.
cover showing up, which is so good.
We didn't talk about this beforehand. I've just decided this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Reports of Superman sightings are pouring in from all over the city.
Missed opportunity to do a Supergirl level with in the World Without Superman arc. They just completely cut that out.
Yeah.
Folks claim to have seen a Superman that is half man, half machine.
And it's funny too when you would described all in the episode of Men of Steel. When you described all the characters, I instantly remembered them all.
Yeah.
So I know I've read
absolutely.
some of it.
Yeah. Young Superboy with not quite an undercut there. Finally, we have received eyewitness reports of the man made of steel. Although if you want to do old school radio, you got to do like that mid-Atlantic. Very much so.
I was just thinking that.
Who is the real Superman?
Who is the real Superman?
Who is the real Superman?
Assault
He's
on
not
Cadmus.
Superboy. He's super. Don't call him Superboy. He told me repeatedly. This Superboy said to me. He wouldn't stop striking
Oh,
me.
and this is
Quite
just a shooter.
unheroic behavior.
If
Oh,
you hold
yes.
down punch, you fire glass.
I love this.
Yeah. With infinite lives, it doesn't, like, you basically don't actually have to do anything, but, like...
Right, I could just do nothing and, like,
Right,
yeah.
and be Superman in that regard. But,
right, yeah.
but it's nice, like, this is
Do
why,
nothing. Be Superman. I love it.
this is why I compared it with Battletoads. Like, there are actually, like, decent variations in levels, and it is pretty much the same as, like, Captain
What are we
America and the
fighting
Avengers.
then?
Yeah, some
Those are Cadmus drones. Oh, I did want to talk about this stage, because I think this is really cool. So, in Cadmus, or outside of Cadmus, which is, like, equivalent to upstate New York, there's, or like Yonkers, there's, like, a big forest that's, like, a national park, but it's actually where the base is located under, and some of their creations built this city out of, like trees that form into structures for them. And in the comics, it's a really cool space because in this fight, they're like knocking down these like redwood-sized trees that have like they're like techno-organic trees, so they grow buildings for them to function in. And they start using it as like tools to fight, and it allowed for like a big collateral damage part of the fight that wasn't like killing people's lives or like killing the city, because like at a certain point there was too much damage. But like, so you can see how like, even though it's clearly like tree trunks, they have this like ladder structure to them, like just cool stuff going on with it all.
Yeah.
I like
And I love that attention to detail.
I like
They
that
are kind of Morlocks a little bit.
Cyborg Superman has a different stance, a different kind of like punch rotation, and a different super move. And I like that those minor variants, they're effectively the same, but yes, the Morlocks, but DC, exactly. You're absolutely right. Urban. Oh, I gotta go forward.
Yeah, there's like sections where you have to fly, and then I think you can drop it here. Like, you can always test by just, like, you can't fall to your death, so you can always test by just, like, pressing jump.
Oh,
Yes,
haha.
that was my next question.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you are Superman, so you can't...
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
not fall to your death.
Yeah, his
like,
throws are different. Like, it's
Yep.
really cool how they have all that animation, and it sucks that it's not two-player.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Like, it shows his brutality just a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, reading the comic, for those who haven't read the comic, Cyborg Superman was very much the one that from the outset was like, no, this is the real Superman. Like, this is what happened after he died. He was sort of restored like this. But how did he come back and all these other things? Like, it was a shell game.
Yeah.
Because, that idea of, like, there's 4. One of them is the real Superman. But none of them are. But this one...
Yeah, this is the one that looked like Superman to the outside world versus the Eradicator. The story itself makes you think it's the real Superman, and then they don't even pretend with Steel or Superboy. Superboy's like, no, I'm the real Superman. Like I'm his clone. Like I am a clone, guys. I'm not pretending I used to be Superman. I'm just a clone.
Is he the real Superman? No, I'm not. God,
right.
Why do you keep saying that?
But Cyborg had like memory loss, or he claimed memory loss, and it was like, oh, his DNA is Superman, and his powers were exactly Superman, but then with robot parts. That he could like control, versus the Eradicator, like you're seeing it from the perspective, but like Cyborg, you don't actually get his like his thoughts, or at least not that much. It's mostly Lois like talking to him, and like they do tests on him to be like, oh, it's Kryptonian metal, and like so to the outside world he's Superman, but then the Eradicator, it's from his perspective as a Kryptonian intelligence resurrected in the Fortress of Solitude, which is the fake out of you thinking like, oh wait, oh you have to fly up, that's the wall of the building.
Well, and I also
up.
I appreciated that all of the designs and ideas were kind of also, they each had one of the like nicknames or taglines for Superman as like it was the Man
of Tomorrow, the Man of Steel, the Metropolis Kid,
the last son of Krypton.
Right.
I appreciated that. I like the nicknames and stuff.
Yeah, and Man of Tomorrow is a name that like used to like Man of Steel was an appropriated name that Superman had. Man of Tomorrow is actually his original nickname. Because the idea is that he's supposed to be a human, but evolved 1,000-fold.
Right, which, like, Superman Red Sun sort of revisited.
Right.
And I'm sure many other storylines where I haven't read nearly as many Superman stories as y'all have.
Well, there's this idea in DC that humanity was destined to have superpowers like Superman, or like Kryptonians and Daxamites, but that the White Martians, when they came back when they came to our world in the first place, they like mucked around with our DNA, and as a result, we didn't. This is a really cool stage, like the clone tanks in the background for Cadmus.
So you're saying white people ruin everything no matter what planet they're from?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. You're right, but cool.
Oh yeah, Urban Bohemian talking about when the cyborg Superman saved President Bill Clinton.
Sorry, not President Bill Clinton. President Hillary Clinton.
No, that's in the cartoon, but in the in the comic it is straight up Bill Clinton. He even speaks at Superman's funeral.
So much fun.
Flying enemies are the worst.
Yeah, you have to fly up and just like punch them. Like,
man,
it's so annoying when you have to fight somebody who flies, right, Superman?
I wish you could fire at the angle that they do, though. Like that would make flying too powerful. Like, because your heat vision is a straight shot, you can't shoot the ground. Even though that would be the tactic you would just use as Superman.
Look, if you combine a little bit of like Hulk Ultimate Destruction with Superman, so you get like destructible environments, so you can
honestly,
I don't know, take out the floor and drop people.
I want it. I loved Hulk Ultimate Destruction so much. It was
so good.
One of those games that was just fun
make it Golden Age Superman, Hulk Ultimate Destruction engine, 1940s aesthetic.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, give that.
And then have the robots from the Fleischer cartoons as your foes that show up like frequently. Like it'd be amazing.
Well, especially if you do Golden Age Superman before he could fly, and it really was just who could leap tall buildings in a single bound. Absolutely.
And you could have an upgrade system where you eventually get some of those powers.
Yeah. My favorite game for the PS2 was the Ultimate Spider-Man game, because halfway through the game you get to be Venom, but it's before Venom is completely has the Spider-Man powers, so you can leap around, and it's essentially Hulk Ultimate Destruction but with Venom, and you eat people. It's so good.
Well, and that also went with the cell-shaded style, so that the graphics hold up really well on that one.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could go full Cuphead on a 1940 style Superman game.
Yeah.
Look, you could adapt the radio dramas. Those were bonkers as hell.
Oh yeah.
And again,
and eventually, you could just have a Ku Klux Klan level.
And just whoop their asses.
It'd be so cathartic.
It really would. Yes.
These cheap attacks they're doing.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
And you could have the Atom Man, one of the best like villains that Superman like fought in the early days. And then you can do like the early Superman villains of like Metallo and like, or actually Mr. Mxyzptlk has to be there because he is the first superpowered entity that Superman like confronted.
I didn't know that. Incredible.
And it's the Gilbert Gottfried design.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, like that episode of Superman the Animated Series is like almost a verbatim adaptation, at least at like first act, of Mr. Mxyzptlk's original appearance.
I mean, that animated series was my and many others' childhood education about Superman.
Oh yeah.
I was a Marvel kid as far as the collecting comics goes.
So
specifically X-Men.
Because of this, I was rewatching the finale the other night when I was trying to play the game, and I forgot how close they do the Superman the Dark Side story there. And like the thing that I
cardboard episode, right?
No, that's the JLU end.
That's JLU, right, sorry.
Yeah. This is their first real match. But while Superman is mind controlled by Darkseid, this boss means nothing, so I have no comments. It's just dumbed down. While Superman,
I blew up his arm.
While Superman is being controlled by Darkseid, Supergirl is controlling Superman robots to replace both Superman and Clark. And it's like, oh my god, the show got there to like full Silver Age bullshit. Mm-hmm. And you forget about it, but it made you like okay with it. Like the only thing that bothered me the entire finale was like the Supergirl like midriff design, and just because the midriff style is out and makes me feel like a creepy old man.
Yeah, that's some Bruce Timm shit. That's whatever.
Yeah, it's really good. Like him, like everyone thinking that he actually has betrayed Earth. So even when he goes to like email Hamilton to like heal Supergirl, he actually like freaks him out, and then that has like ramifications in JLU. Exactly. Good.
He's going up with Cadmus because of that whole situation.
Yeah, so missed opportunity to have him fight Doomsday again. Obviously, he doesn't in the comic, but it would have been like nice to at least have a boss fight. So Eradicator design, my favorite of the designs.
Agreed. Like really making a whole ass cowl out of it is pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was so cool. Also, this is the only character where it just feels in character for him just to walk through and just burn him up like that. Like I feel like it does. Like you should see the animations because he actually has like really good fight animations. Like he's a kicker. The other one, like Cyborg, has a couple kicks, but like normal Superman doesn't at all.
Come on, fly. There we go.
Fly, darn
like the animations are really good, but like I said, like honestly, if you could just like walk through and just burn them up, that's the Eradicator's personality.
I love that his walk animation.
Oh, his throw is different too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all their throws are different, which is really nice.
His walk animation is he's off to have a golly gee super day.
A little bit.
He is brutal. Like he
does
looks
a
like he should be
backbreaker.
voiced by the dad from Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah, he kind of is in Reign of Superman. Obviously not the same dad, but like
right.
He's got
Jeff,
that kind of voice.
Jeff Bennett's the voice actor for that one.
Ooh,
that very just kind of like everything's fine. I'm going off to clean the streets of Metropolis.
But he's like, I'm on my way to break some bones. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
I'm going to have a wonderful day. I need to burn the sin out of all of these people.
So wait, does the ranged attack only stun them, or does it do damage?
It does damage, but it's like very small. And I can't tell if holding it down charges it or not, or if it just like allows you to like time it better.
I think it's just timing. It doesn't seem like it's charging.
But it's like I have killed someone with it, but you have to have them like on the verge of death.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be real. You know, there's certain like fashion ideas that are like it's simultaneously the coolest and the dumbest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Those fucking sunglasses.
Oh my god, yeah.
I want to be able to pull those off. I want the confidence, because it's really about confidence.
The ominousness of his special too, like that his face pretty much disappears.
Oh,
yeah.
In shadow. It's just so very good.
And that's a nod to his
comes up-
first appearance, where like he's like you see him looking like that with his hands like glowing as he's like pursuing a criminal. Like the Eradicator makes sense for him just to be mercilessly attacking gangsters because like that is in character. He'd just be like walking around being like everybody dies.
Yeah, this is Superman without humanity.
Right.
And like that is a wonderful exploration of the facets of Superman and why he works as a character and as a superhero. And we're just gonna have him beat up some street thugs.
I have to step out. I will be right back.
Okay. Oh.
character animation is so awesome. And he's got the Bane Bragbreaker too.
Yeah, like it's just
Like,
wild.
yeah. That's it. Like everything about him, but his walk animation is brutal as hell.
Oh, I just threw them into the wall. Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
I
crap.
could do that. That's amazing.
Like this is Leave It to Beaver as soundtracked by Guar.
Like I could just slam them into the wall repeatedly. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Jmike, did you have this game or play this game growing up?
I think I was 5 in this game.
Oh, Jesus, I forget
That's
how
no
young
excuse.
you are.
No
Yeah.
excuse.
I don't think my parents would be like, "Hey, here's a great Superman beat 'em up that you can burn people to death in." So no, I think I was playing Bugs Bunny on my Sega Genesis.
You know, while he was being a trickster god and sending people to hell, you know.
Urban says in chat, crumbles into dust. Yeah, that's like I found out the other day that Jonathan Majors is only 33, y'all. Only
34.
34. Like, dude looks like a grown-ass man and is jacked, and like I just look at him and go, I'm so old.
Okay, I was like 9 or 10 when this game came out.
Because I think I was 4. I think I was 4 when this whole arc went down in the comics. Oh yeah, I wouldn't have been reading this at all. I didn't read this until I was in college, I think.
No, I read it proper when I was in college, but being 9 years old, I was the perfect age for this level of like super cool comic book. Look, it's in a black cover. Like he just gets killed by this guy called Doomsday. It's the best. Like, just that super edgy, you know, super edgy.
You missed it while you were away, Case. I discovered I can throw them into the walls.
Oh, you did that during the first level too.
Did I? I don't think I realized it. It's just so.
What I like
It's
is
the
that there's
reverse
damage.
Turtles in Time.
Well, I like that when you throw someone into the wall, there's damage to it. Like when you throw them into that, like you've broken those the boards and those windows, and you dented that grate. It's really cool.
Again, if this were like a Hulk Ultimate Destruction game where you could bring down buildings, come on.
Oh,
It would be
I can just
highly
throw them up.
disturbing, and I think
don't
that's
even have
part
to
of the
be
fun.
near the wall. I can be down here and like throw them upwards.
Dense.
Come here.
Dang.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Which
that's.
that feels like Superman right there.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
That
a very
feels
brutal
like
Superman, but yeah.
But this also, again, having these explorations of aspects of Superman through the lens of the Pretenders lets you explore things that you wouldn't necessarily get to do with the real Superman.
Yeah. Superboy especially, like we talked about this on the episode where his first issue of the comic actually feels like a beat 'em up video game because he like he literally is like walking down the street being attacked by
fighting
people.
Steel.
Oh yeah, this is actually them doing the actual fight that the two had.
Steel's design in this is also awesome. Steel's a character I've always liked. I know his comics are a little problematic, but like that said, like I think he's always had such a really cool design.
I think the problematic aspect is only in terms of like, well, there's a lot of white people trying to write like good stories,
Right.
But like, but it's only that they were like, you know, like just like not what. It's just not their experience to tell. Like they're doing a good job. Like
The
they're
hammer attack is brutal.
Oh, it's so
no,
brutal.
he's the Donatello in this one.
Absolutely. Dang.
Oh gosh.
I need you to back up, my friend. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Space.
And it's funny because like the Eradicator had such an easy time with Steel up until the issue switched over to Steel's issue, and then all of a sudden it became Steel winning the fight.
But you mean you're right. They did what they did.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
It was just funny that
I
like
like
the
to
creative
extend a
team
little
for
bit
the
of grace where I
respective book.
can, but also, yeah, they did what they did. And in other news, for a little while there, this murder program of Krypton was just getting bodied by an 8th level paladin with some gumption.
With a wave of my hand, I can destroy you, Man of Steel.
Which is true.
I can't reach. I was gonna try and put the camera on Otis, but I don't think it can get.
It takes more than power to
I
be
can't get
Superman.
it to go
takes
low
humanity.
enough to
Compassion.
show him. He's sleeping under the desk.
I like that the sprite looks like he has a beard. You not seeing that?
On the
That's
Eradicator?
right. Go in peace, Man of Steel. Together, we shall watch over Metropolis.
Sorry for anyone I made seasick by moving my camera. I was trying to get the camera on. Otis.
Meanwhile, an enormous spacecraft appears over Coast City. In all of justice.
Now we're back.
I
Now we're
want all
doing the Super
narration
Friends.
to be Golden Age Radio. I don't care. And destroys it completely.
R.I.P. Coast City.
Well, that's not going to be bad for anyone.
Let's go investigate the destruction of Coast City.
As I was telling Case, like it's always so much fun to sit back and realize how many storylines came out of this story.
Yeah. No other superheroes are from Coast City. No one's going to take this hard.
Oh, not even.
Why,
golden
I'm green
opportunity
with
now.
envy over that.
Well, golden opportunity to have Green Lantern as a playable character, and it's because he could have had the same moveset.
I will apologize for nothing. I said what I said, and I will...
The background in this is actually
Robots
really
again.
awesome.
This is kind of dope.
Okay, everything on
Yeah, the
fire.
background is so dope. Like,
Popping balloons.
Like,
By the
this
way,
is-
I'm not using a cheat on this. This is just.
Are you holding down the button?
I'm just holding down the button.
Awesome, awesome.
And it's not like a special rapid fire button. It's just a
Yeah.
button.
so I'm going to note that those orbs on the ground are explosive, like the grenades
Okay.
or mines. Pardon me.
Yes, so they are.
Yeah.
I had to know for sure, you know?
And you throw the enemies in there?
Yes, you
Oh.
can. They will take damage from it too.
I didn't expect the background here to have destruction, but it did. That's always dope. Hey, don't get over here, me. Come here.
shockingly interesting production values. Like there are so many
Yeah.
areas where this is great, and then like so many like just like little flaws. Like again, if this was 2-player and maybe like a little bit more few spots, like this could have been like a Battletoads competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it sold at the time either. I couldn't even tell you if it was a success or not.
I don't think it was particularly
I imagine
successful.
not.
I think it was
mean,
like
considering Blizzard never talks about it.
right, and there was just like a glut of games like this at the time. Like you know, I think this is in the same category as like the Wildcats or like Spawn Super Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Like people were into those games being out, and like if you were a fan of that property, you probably bought it, like or at least like played it.
This is sort of the alternative to the platformer mascot with attitude. If it wasn't an
Right.
animal with attitude, it was a beat 'em up.
And there were so many games like Ren and Stimpy had like a 3/4 beat 'em up.
Mhm.
It's true. I just picked up the Game Gear copy like last week.
Can I throw you? I can't.
I'd never played it before. I'm gonna check a little further, but I don't have any sales figures for
Okay.
this yet. Do you want me to check just SNES or SNES and Genesis?
Was this on Genesis also?
It was on Genesis too.
Yeah.
It's the same game, so just check and see.
Let's see what we got. Because unfortunately, looking up how many copies of The Death and Return of Superman were sold.
Right, the
is-
comic is one of the best-selling comics of all time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they didn't sell 6 million copies of this game.
For sure not.
To anyone but Hamilton Burger King, the eccentric billionaire that I just made up 3 seconds ago.
You know, I do want someone to test something. It can be someone in chat or it could be someone on the call. I want you to search. So at the bottom of the Twitch stream, you'll see the game. You can select the game, and I was able to select this one. I wonder if I'm the top streamer streaming this game because I'm the only streamer streaming this game. I bring this up because Pelnock ages ago started streaming Snood suddenly.
Oh
and
my God.
And like
Wow.
for a while she was the #1 streamer of Snood on Twitch because she was the only one streaming it, and it was the best.
Yo, so
Do people just stream like Microsoft Solitaire?
I'm it.
Minesweeper.
There it is. I am.
you are.
it.
There you
There
are.
you are.
Yeah.
The #1 Superman, Death and Return of Superman streamer on Twitch. Put it in the bio.
You are the Return of Superman, my friend.
I
mean-
have a feeling though that this might actually do well on our YouTube channel. I don't know why I think that. I just kind of do.
Because it's searchable. Like
Yeah.
It
and
is.
one of the reasons we're doing the story on the show is that it's the 30th anniversary of the comic.
Yeah. All right, Urban. All right. Cool it. This isn't Fuser, but I'll start playing All Star anyway. If you don't stop. Oh God, stop walking into them. This is like the pirate ship in Turtles in Time. Like I always walk on the boards that pop up and smack you in the face. I just can't avoid them.
you're doing it for entertainment value. You
Yes.
know they're there. You're
Right,
just giving us
totally.
some chuckles.
Exactly.
With the background fully exposed, man,
what a
that is
compliment.
really cool.
It is really cool.
Like the silhouettes of the buildings up close are really great looking.
This looks like the Godzilla creepypasta.
Yes, a little bit.
One thing, talking about sales figures on this game, I think we should also value the rental market. Like,
Yeah.
this was at Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
And these kind of games were perfect for that because, like, you're
Absolutely.
gonna beat this game once and then you're never gonna play it again.
Oh
or
my
if you
God!
would, it would be
Stop
like
cornering me.
years from now. Oh, this is actually fun because you can see
Fucker.
like Steel has such like reach, but you two are like pretty
I
evenly matched,
just
which is, like, really
cannot
fun.
hit him. I'm
But
not
Hank
doing this
Henshaw
on purpose.
Is brutal.
Oh yeah,
I
but
am-
so is the Eradicator.
I'm not
Well, the
doing this on
Eradicator
purpose.
never knew what mercy was. Hank Henshaw had his mercy surgically removed. There's a difference.
Okay, you know what? I've had enough.
Yeah.
I cannot with this guy. Won't give
Right,
me
no.
space. Won't let me
Look
be.
what you made me do!
Right, exactly.
No, I mean the reason the Cyborg was able to win in the comics was that he just straight up did a sneak attack. Like he shot him in the head. Like,
Look, it's hard being Reed Richards. There, he did the sneak attack.
I mean, look what happened to Reed Richards in the Ultimate Universe. Like, it just goes
Yeah.
wrong sometimes.
that would be the biggest troll move if they like built the Maker in the 616 world into eventually just turning into the Cyborg Superman. Like if he like took the body of Hyperion or the Sentry and like put his brain into it by way of his shapeshifting.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Oh my God, he could like shapeshift into their veins or something to control them, like blood bending.
Ooh.
Gosh.
Clone Thor was right there.
Yeah, you're right.
I love this. So just for a moment, before we move on, growing up, this was one of my favorite Superman designs, and it's not
Oh yeah.
necessarily like it's a good design, but it was like absolutely target for like that Attitude Era of comics, like the leather coat, the sunglasses. Like it's why I like Wolverine. It's like
I was about to say, do you also love Gambit? Because
Yes.
this is the most Gambit-ass design.
Yeah.
And I say that with affection and love because I freaking love this design. I
Yeah.
also love how sassy his animations are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at his
check out
block.
He's got
His strut.
spunk and gumption.
So Matt, do you feel how he like seems a bit faster?
A little bit. Not like his attacks are faster. His attacks
Yeah,
are
I think
definitely
that's what I mean.
faster.
Like his travel
Like,
speed's not so much. And it's funny though because like Superboy actually is the only one who, well, or Superboy and Steel are the two who don't really have super speed at this time.
Yeah.
But he's the light one.
Yeah, his ranged attack is the same. But
Yeah, it's a bummer. That should be like him using his TK, like him
Yeah.
just like stomping the ground or something.
oh, but he does like wrestling moves. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. There should be a forward one. Yeah, there we go.
Ow.
Love a good flip. That's straight
Dare
out
you,
of Streets
Jeff.
of
I
Rage.
saw what you said. How dare you, Jeff? I saw what you said.
Yeah, no. Gambit, as what he has done for the team and to the team, he is just a scumbag.
The best X-Men is Wolverine
He is-
anyway, so it doesn't.
He is a... No, that is Nightcrawler slander.
Yeah.
Well, they're in a relationship now, so it's fine.
Okay, fine. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I beat the crap. I
will
love
say,
cornering you in this game.
going off of the X-Men stuff, like Superboy has a lot of like X-Men vibes just in general. Like
Yeah.
the jacket design is really popular for X-Men 90 stuff. His powers are very similar to like X-Men powers because he's all TK based at this time.
I do love how the chat is ready to go off on X-Men.
Apparently, all our choices are wrong.
Actually, no. I love that they're specifically saying X-Man because everyone's talking about Nate Gray.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand. I understand, especially given the
genuinely
time
love-
period of the game we're playing right now.
I
Right, and
genuinely
Nate
love.
Gray, I always compared with Superboy because he's TK and he's got a really similar costume design. Like they felt like, and they're both clones.
No, you're right.
I genuinely
Also-
loved Storm
Yeah.
growing up, mostly because my last name is Storm, and I got unoriginal like bullies were like, "Oh, you're the same name as that lady X-Men. You're so dumb." I'm like, okay, and so,
You mean the goddess who controls the weather?
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sure, I'll take that comparison.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, please. Also, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things about the physics of how Superman can hold up a battleship. No amount of super strength holds up against effing gravity, okay? He is still, a Henry Cavill-sized motherfucker carrying these things.
Right. Well, and that had been set up with like the John Byrne era of Superman stuff. Like what was cool with Superboy was that he was specifically one power of Superman's, but it could somehow accomplish so much of the things.
Well, I mean, but yeah, that is also like that whole Silver Age superhero exploration of like, okay, Flash can just go really, really fast. What can you do with that? A lot.
Right.
You can do a lot. Holy shit, you can do a lot.
I'm also learning that apparently Urban Bohemian's a giant Superman nerd, so Case, you may need to have him on your podcast.
Yeah, we should make that work.
Yeah, because
so
I hadn't guessed that. Mostly because
These Molotov guys are the worst.
Oh my god,
Yeah, they're so annoying.
the fact that Jmike, they can wallop me from across, like with pinpoint accuracy from across the room.
Yeah,
it's like every time. Also, I have telekinesis. Can't I stop that? Like,
Well, actually, fire is one of his weaknesses, so like
Yeah,
that
that
actually
is
works
true.
better here. The chainsaw, however, nothing. Shouldn't do shit.
Yeah, right?
It wouldn't be so bad if they had more villain groups. The fact that it's like on these levels, it's the same 3 guys is so annoying.
Double Dragon for the NES had more enemy varieties than this.
correct.
Mhm.
And there was like 7.
Oh, there's not even a boss battle for him?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think it's
fine.
going to be Cyborg Superman.
Who we got?
Oh, right, because there's like 2 parts to each one. Yeah, that's right.
I'm only saying that because they end up fighting in the comic.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler.
they've been pretty faithful to that.
Yeah, it's such an interesting like compression of the story for it, but it's like, okay, yeah, I guess shit was happening in Coast City, Superboy flies over there, is technically how it goes down. It's just like, oh, it's very quick.
I just noticed the skeletons on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just feel like, do we count how many are in the scroll before it repeats? Because they've only got like a few enemy types per area. Like, how long of a texture did they make this level?
It's true. Yeah.
You gotta wonder about that stuff. I wonder also storage space or anything else of the SNES versus Genesis version.
Oh yeah, that's true. It could have been like one cart, like they figured this out for both like Streets of Rage 2 or like Ninja Turtles 4, like in terms of like they can make these games really good, but it might be different tricks they have to do for Genesis versus Super Nintendo.
Exactly. Whether that's a graphical, a gameplay, texture, whatever it is. There's some different magic.
I would
you
have
gotta
loved a
work.
Sega CD version of this, like something akin to the Sega CD Final Fight game,
Yeah.
which was like at the time the closest you could get to the arcade game.
Yep.
I'm
remember
gonna
when we
be real
could-
with you.
I was just saying, remember when we couldn't have arcade games at home, and now, like, literally, you could play any arcade game on a portable device at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Provided it doesn't need a large plastic proprietary controller.
Correct.
right. Like the flip was Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. Like that was the first game where the arcade version was like noticeably worse than
Then the
and like
console.
Well, the
Right,
Naomi
in
board
all
of the
ways.
Dreamcast was based off of the same arcade board. That
right,
Sega
and the
was using
Naomi
at the
board was
time.
then used for developing all those arcade boards at the time. So like
Yeah.
that's why like one of the reasons why Marvel vs. Capcom 2 it became a 4-button fight scheme with 2 assist buttons instead of 6 buttons where you would press them because the idea was a Dreamcast control. Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I'm okay with it.
Dreamcast is so ahead of its time.
Oh yeah. God.
Yep. Too bad Sega can't market consoles for shit.
You really can't.
Nope.
Sega had a lot of problems.
I maintain that if the Saturn, I'm not looking for more stuff from the earlier generation, but if the
Well, you called
Saturn
it,
was
Jmike.
backwards, yeah,
Sneak attack.
if the Saturn was backwards compatible with the
This
32X
guy.
and Sega CD,
Yes.
it would have been a game changer on that one. Because then you could have had games coming out that were like the 32X CD or just like
Come
straight up 32X
on.
games. Because again, the Saturn had a cartridge slot.
Yeah, it did.
If it had been backwards compatible for the 16-bit generations, all that stuff,
I'm so
then
glad I
all
have
those games
Infinity
in between would
Lives.
have been amazing.
Yeah, because
Because
then
he
you
is
would,
walloping me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Which
he
is
is-
appropriate though, because Cyborg Superman is way more powerful than Superboy.
All right.
God,
I've had
those
enough.
3.
tactile this, Kid Metropolis.
This should be like a stomp in the ground attack. Like
That's,
fuck.
Yeah,
Oh, thank God.
but
Now he's
no,
going to get up and sneak
punch.
attack me.
but unfortunately, Sega of America and Sega of Japan like were mean girling each other for years.
True.
Oh yeah.
So that was never going to happen. Plus, there were so many other aspects of the pooch being unfortunate. as far as Saturn goes, certainly in America.
Yeah.
We never had Sega de Sanshiro.
No, we did not. That's true.
I don't think that would have saved anything, but I would have felt better.
Now, Engine City. I love that they even fucking named it.
This is insane! You'll never get away with it! I realize that. I've been trying not to voice these things while we're, like, having a conversation, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I got to you.
Yeah, it's fine.
I proceed with my plans to erect a second engine city in Metropolis. Goodbye for now, super giants.
Just find a way to escape. Gotta warn the world!
Did he just blink out of existence?
He like broke free. Like it's him trying to figure out how to use his TK on purpose, which at the time he didn't know how to do.
Among the polar ice caps far to the north. Within the fortress of solitude, a being flutters weakly back to life.
I love
This is
that
such a smash cut.
I love the narrator is still just like from Super
He
Friends.
can't do it on command.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice.
Meanwhile, that's exactly. You gotta narrate it like it's Super Friends. This is Super Friends, okay? This is edgy boy Super Friends. Hot Topic Super Friends.
That's very funny, Irvin.
Yeah. Oh.
Tactile telekinesis. Check it out. Show him I can't do it on command. You can't do it.
We are all
on
Ted Knight.
command. We are all Ted Knight. We are all squires in the Ted Knight fan club.
More balloons. Is this supposed to be the fortress?
This is him escaping from Engine City.
Okay.
At this point.
Yeah.
They do pop like balloons though. That's what throws me off. Is like they have no weight. They just pop like you're shooting balloons.
Well, and like it's almost impossible to avoid their shots, and like you can tank it about as well as you can. Like it doesn't feel like a real shooter, but it's like it's at least nice that it's there, like just to mix it up.
Yeah.
Fifth hero.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
love
mad
that
you don't get to
design.
play him in black costume.
I know. It's such a good design too. It's one of my
Don't let
favorites.
the outfit or the mullet fool you.
Yes.
Especially the mullet.
Man, it's funny at this point of in the story, Superboy is just going back and forth from California to the East Coast and back. Like he's like, go over there. Cyborg's bad. Back to Metropolis. Okay, I got my team. We go back over. There's the thing I gotta do to protect Metropolis. Gotta go back to Metropolis. Like,
right? I also enjoy that like they only have the one piece of art for each of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just use the same one image over and over again. Mm-hmm.
No emotions.
That's
only...
video games at this time.
Oh, I know.
it generally works though. The black Superman costume right there, that's Dan Jurgens' art from when he it's the end of an issue of Man of Steel where he emerges from this robot, which would have been a fun boss fight. Again, this game could have had boss fights, that would have been nice. But he emerges from this Kryptonian robot that gets him to Metropolis. Yeah. So it's the last panel is John Bogdanov, and then the next issue of Superman is where you actually get a good shot of him, not drenched in the fluids coming off of this thing, and that's the iconic image of Superman in the black suit.
Yeah,
I love this.
Oh yeah, I love the rockets. God, I used to love armored superheroes so much.
Yeah,
I still do, but
yeah.
but now they all kind of feel like it's magic anyway, which is the idea that oh yeah, you can make rocket boots is so fun.
Oh, that's such a cool special.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, we talked about this in the issue, or in the episode where we talked about the issues of the Return of Superman. I love his boots are so fucking big, and they've got tubes running to them that are like the jet fuel tubes. It's so cool.
Yeah, you can see it when he walks.
Yeah,
which is neat. The attention to detail on the sprite work is very good for this game.
This is Mirror Universe Liefeld. The feet are well drawn and well designed.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least if you can't make them feet shaped, you can just make them big boot. And explain why big boot. Because Rocket.
Well, I said the Superman Man of Steel book in general felt like a lot of making fun of Rob Liefeld. Which is appropriate because it's Louise Simonson was one of the co-creators of Steel, and she was ousted from working on New Mutants, which became X-Force, by Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not like Grabby Guy.
No.
Do not like him.
I do not
No.
appreciate this. I do not appreciate this. Stop it. You have been stopped. I got what I wanted. Now I gotta
See
follow
his
this
other
arrow.
throw. Oh, that's great. Whipping the hammer around. I love that. It has no weight though. Like, it doesn't
This
feel
is-
impactful. Like the jump attack feels impactful. I like that.
Yeah.
This is a game that both deserves and does not deserve a 3D remake.
Oh
A
my
re-exploration. Like, really, like all these little what have yous and everything that we're talking about here would be so fun to get to do. We don't need to do it, but we should do it.
I would love a fan mod that took this and Justice League Task Force, which I think has really similar sprite design in general, and really like made like a cool like multi-type game where like you fought. I mean, they'd have to make a Mongol model, but like they could do it really cool, and then you could like Despero's in that. Obviously, Darkseid's in that one. Like you could have like a really cool like richer game using these basic assets and just like fleshing it out more.
Yeah, I think a little bit of if there was more space to the game,
Yeah.
you could, I mean, literal storage space for assets. You could do a lot more. And I think too, I appreciate that the game does, it's not afraid to move away from beat 'em up conventions. Like we're being like, it'd be nice if there was a boss at the end of this level. They're telling a story. They're
Yeah.
And that is cool to break away from, but they didn't break away hard enough.
Well, and I'm just saying it'd be nice to have bosses where the boss would have been an appropriate fight. Like they fought that giant Kryptonian robot. Like so it makes sense for that to be a steel level. There's a lot of spots where you like I'm just really mad that you don't fight Mongol in this game, and like that
You
should be a
mentioned
real
it a
fight.
few times.
Yeah,
Clearly a sore spot.
he's one of the main villains.
Yeah.
He really
He
is.
is, and he had like, it's just sort of like a, well, Coast City's gone.
And it's not
In
even
this
like they
game.
have to like design new mechanics for him. He could literally just be the Closter character, but like with a different skin or a different model. Like I would have been fine with that. But like
Exactly, you literally fight Warworlders. Thank you.
I don't like being. Get over here. Stop it.
yeah, I do love your reach as Steel though. Like
Oh, it's great. It's the best
Gotcha.
of any of the
this is the
characters.
best feeling character in the game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Aha! Caught you.
And again, there's a definite attention to detail in how everybody moves a little different. There's different amounts of reach. There's like, this clearly is not a shoddy, like a shoddy hack job.
Right. You'd think the Superman would all fight the exact same way. You'd think it would be like base Street Fighter 2 Ryu and Ken, and instead this is like Street Fighter 5 Ryu and Ken.
Yeah,
That might be too strong.
but I mean, again,
Street Fighter 3 out Ryu and Ken.
but also because of the fact that you don't get to choose which of the Supermen you get to play as from level to level. You could design the stages around their strengths and weaknesses and around
Yeah.
how they play.
They don't.
And that would have been so cool. You could play, you know, I don't know.
Oh, I love this section.
I
Sorry.
love the color scheme here, I was about to say.
The color scheme is great.
Flying enemies should be illegal. Stop it.
Well,
Well, all
you're
you
the
have to do is,
vigilante. Make them illegal.
Once, like, if you start flying, if you come in from slightly above them, they can't hit you because they can only shoot down.
It's joust rules, old as time.
Yeah, exactly.
God, can you imagine if like just there was a level that was just playing like doing like arcade joust but with Superman characters?
Oh my god, right? You just do a lot of weird classic arcade games, but as Superman characters.
I mean,
How
you
would those
could
play
like
out?
some
I
of the
know.
flying levels could be like Galaga,
Right?
or really it's
Like-
Defender, I guess.
Yeah.
It looked like he was
You're
like
trying to
ready for this guy.
You're trying to fight Mongol from Coast City, and it's just like the weirdest game of Donkey Kong. He keeps going to the top of buildings.
I love that.
You keep forgetting you can
Oh,
fly.
and it's perfect because if you're Black Suit Superman in that, you can't actually fly, and so you have to be jumping up like the buildings to
Exactly.
get to Mongol as he's throwing
He's
shit at you.
throwing shit at you. Oh no. It's so wrong, but I love it.
I kind of love it a little too much, actually.
Alright, what else we got? What else? I mean, you could definitely have some punch out going on here. The
Yeah.
boss fights among Supermen just goes into punch out.
Oh,
Well, the first level should be Mario Bros because you're in the sewers.
The coolest thing about the Messenger, this is a slight tangent, but Geoff mentioned changing a game to Punch Out, is in the DLC for the Messenger, I can't remember what it's called, like Tropical Vacation something. The final boss shifts from you playing as a ninja, like, you know, in like a shinobi kind of game, to summoning a giant creation that you control, and it literally becomes Punch Out, Super Nintendo Punch Out. And like you play Punch Out against the final boss. It's the best. If you've not played the Messenger on Switch, PC, play that game. It's not as punishing as Ninja Gaiden, and it's funny as hell, and it's just a very good game.
Yeah, I love me a good ninja 2D game. Like that's
It's very good. The hook is that you can quote unquote time travel, and that's represented as you going from 8-bit to 16-bit graphics in the same stage. Music
Nice.
too. It's incredible.
I'm also now reminded of, did any of you ever play the freeware game Abobo's Big Adventure?
I didn't, but I know of it.
oh right, I forgot about this one.
Yeah, the parody Flash game where you play as the big heavy guy from Double Dragon, and
Yep.
every level is basically a different NES game, and you're
Yep.
saving your son Aboboy.
A Boboy.
Sorry, what?
Abobo's Big Adventure.
Yeah. Which we could then skin to be Bibbo's Big Adventure.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh my
You got
god.
Bibbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the levels were called Double Drabobo, Super Mabobo, Urban Shabobo, Zelda Bobo, Balloona Bobo, Pro Rabobo, Mega Mabobo, and Contra Bobo and Puncha Bobo.
Oh my god.
And all of them were based on Final Fantasy. It was really weird. That last part. So anyway,
Matt, were you ever a Saints Row player?
No, we talked about this when you did the side quest episode. Like, I played a little bit of the third game because I have it, but I liked GTA through San Andreas and then fell off. And by the time Saints Row came around, I was like, I don't really play these kinds of games anymore. I know that they are more than that, but because they are essentially, they started as a GTA clone and then became their own thing, I never really played them. I've always wanted to go back to them, but you know, it's not like there's other games to play right now, so I have so much time.
Saints Row 4, I think you should try because for two reasons. One is that the main hub for it is a Mass Effect parody.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Which is amazing. But also in it there's a level that turns into what they call Streets of Gat, which is a Streets of Rage clone level where it just turns into a very faithful kind of one. But because it's Polygon, whatever your character is designed as, it's just a wonderful detour into doing a very loving Streets of Rage.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think I own the fourth one on Steam, and so I'm sure it runs great on Steam Deck, actually. I've not gotten around to playing half of my not even half. Let's say,
that's
3/4
generous.
of my backlog.
Yeah,
Also-
that makes sense.
Well, Matt, did you play Saints Row before or after getting into Yakuza?
Way before.
It might be worth going back for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also 4, because all the weird shit with 4. 4 is while the hub world is Mass Effect, the in-world is a Matrix parody.
Yep.
And you get superpowers, and so you get Golden Age Superman powers at first, where you can run really fast, jump, and ricochet off walls. But then you use guns and steal cars every now and then too. And then you get even more powers as the game goes on.
Incredible.
I mean, and I should be clear though. I mean, I love. Apparently, Urban's also a fan of Saints Row 4. I love the Yakuza games, and I like their combat, all the variations of it. But let's be clear, I play those games for the melodrama and the ridiculous sub-stories. I do not play them for the gameplay. I usually like the gameplay, but
Yes, the dubstep gun.
It was the best. The best game.
I like the gameplay, and I'm playing Ishin right now, which isn't the gameplay is actually a lot of fun. But what I live for is the incredible writing, the melodrama, and the sub-stories. That's why I play those games.
Yeah, 4 is good and wild and weird, and It's worth checking out. Just if the humor hits you right, which you'll know pretty fast, like you'll be like, okay, I'm here for this game.
I don't need to have played the other games to understand the fourth one.
Not really.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Good.
No. Well,
That's always nice.
There's a big status quo change that begins at the start of it that you'll be like, oh, okay, this is what we're playing now. It's a totally different game from anything
fair.
before.
This feels a lot like that idea
Yeah,
of
the
when
rockets first,
Peacemaker first came out,
What
and
am
I was
I
recommending
fighting?
it to people. I'm like, watch
It's a missile.
Peacemaker until the end of the opening. Whether you want
Yeah,
to keep watching or not, you're right.
It's annoying that you have to hit the rockets first.
Who knows? Maybe if I can get back into a streaming schedule, I'll stream Saints Row 4. That could be fun. Hey, Renato. What's up?
Renato, what's
Good
up?
to see you, friend.
We have killed and returned to Superman.
Yeah, we are playing the Death and Return of Superman in honor of a upcoming crossover episode between Fun and Games and the Men of Steel podcast about this video game.
Nice.
Yeah, I rather like that this level
Nice.
exists. Like the comic story is really fun, having Superboy trying to like redirect this missile, but turning it into a shooter level, it feels right. Like it's, I think, a good design.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to see how they can like convert the story specific things into video mechanics without it feeling like a totally different game.
Yeah. I love how everyone else's photos are like close-ups of their face and like their chest, and then for Superman, the actual Superman, it's the full body shot. It's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't do a cover like that. Like these, all four of them had this because these are the exact covers that were for the first.
oh hey, look, a new one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh wow. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, Renato, if you're a fan of Superman, but if you are, Case and Jmike, who are on the stream with me, host an incredible podcast called Men of Steel, which I'm sure Geoff would be happy to post in chat, which is a Superman podcast. And what I like about it, and I'm not just biased because I used to edit it, if you don't know a lot about Superman, it's also a good listen because they're both mostly Case, is very good at explaining everything.
Definitely Case.
Not that Jmike can't explain things, it's that Jmike doesn't. Jmike is there for color commentary to talk about some bullshit.
You'll get to another one of those things, but when you get to the next one of those, don't start hitting it. I want to mention something. So speaking of Superman and cool stuff, from a design perspective, what's really cool here is that Kryptonian like construct thing that's going on there, that's supposed to be like kryptonite, that is directly based on Superman's ship from this era of the comics. So, and then the Eradicator has like the same design. So it's this Kryptonian style machine. Like it's almost exactly Superman's ship, with that being like the birthing pod up there, which would normally be blue, and the rest of it would be gold. And that's like the hyperdrive that sent him from Krypton. And then he was born when he actually crash lands in Kansas because he was like in utero effectively in it, because at the time he was a test tube baby on Krypton because that's just what they did. And I love that they took that design here because this whole structure is supposed to be based on the Kryptonian tech that Cyborg stole from the rocket itself.
Damn.
By the way, Renato, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Dean Cain is a dick, and like he should be set on fire. But that show I loved as well.
But yeah, no, this agreed. It's a solid series.
Yeah.
Dean Cain sucks, but also my crush on Terry Hatcher is because of that show.
Right.
And then like re-emphasized with Seinfeld.
Yes.
They're
Although I
real
mean,
and
I had a crush on
fantastic.
Dean Cain then too until he turned into a shitbag.
And even then, like honestly, you'd probably hate him, right?
Yeah.
Like I would just for the story.
I love just fucking obstacles in games like this are not meant to be dodged. Like you're supposed to dodge them, but they're not meant to be dodged. They're not designed to be dodged.
Yeah, they're designed so that you can dodge them.
Yeah. This is interesting from a timing perspective. And again, this is a level that I use to compare it with like Battletoads. Like it feels like that kind of like it's a hard level. It's like cool mechanics. You're flying around. It's kind of like the drop down levels when you're like hanging by the line.
Oh,
yeah.
But happening
motorcycle
like,
stages. Fuck the motorcycle stages.
Turbo tunnel.
Oh yeah. The turbo.
So
that's what this game really needs. Like one level where you're just like truly trying to avoid stuff. And not
you
just,
are
like,
flying
shoot through it all.
so fast.
What were those?
Yeah.
What are those?
These are like Kryptonian Warworld robots that are attacking you.
Yeah,
There's already so much
absolutely
stuff going
sucks.
on.
So we need one in this game.
Yeah, it's like what just what we needed,
I
Jmike,
think
was
you can
more
die
stuff.
This way. Oh, you can't. It just damages. That sucks.
Okay. I
mean,
also
like, from a
realized
gameplay standpoint, I think it should be harder there.
I know we've got the infinite lives going on right now because we want to see the end of this game. We really should have been keeping track of how many times Matt has died playing.
I
this
know.
game.
Yeah.
God.
My
Imagine,
favorite
like,
thing about
take a drink every time he dies, and I would have finished
Die.
like 2 bottles of wine by this point.
one of my favorite things about the True Crash 4 that came out a couple years ago is that it had a regular standard game mode where you had a certain amount of lives. After you lost them all, you got a game over. They also had a mode that was more forgiving where you'd still die a lot because Crash Bandicoot is really hard, but it just counted how many times you died. It didn't, like, there was no live limit. It just counted up. And then
It was golf style.
And one of the last stages in that game, I had like 100 deaths because I just couldn't get through it. It was just so hard, even with the checkpoints.
That's cool. I like that as a system. You gotta hit the guns first. It's just like the missile. Like, you can only target the one thing that they say is your target at a time, even though they should all be right there. Now you whack the face. So this is also a thing from the comics, which I like. This is the Cyborg Superman like fighting Steel while he's inside the machine itself.
Interesting.
So that's a good use of a comic reference for a boss fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, in the Fortress of Solitude.
Meanwhile, a regenerated Eradicator streaks towards Engine City. Sorry, I was fucking up there.
Got to stay on your game, Geoff. Come on. The return.
I can't. I'm too excited about level 10. The return of Superman.
So wait, do we play as regular Superman again?
So look at they've got the model, and it's battle damage, and it looks great. This whole sequence looks amazing, aside from the strobe-inducing, like...
I forgot that Eradicator is, like, part of Superman. It's very interesting.
Sort of. And you've got the mullet design. Yeah. Like, it's hard to tell, and it's not, obviously it's not a big, like, graphics change, but, like... it's interesting that we even have that, and then they don't let you play as the Black Suit Superman, even though they clearly have the model.
Right. Oh, Renato, we were talking about the Spawn game earlier. Yeah, that Super Nintendo game was just something special.
Well, that also makes you think of the Prinny games, where you had every Prinny was a one-hit kill, but you had like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
For the whole game.
I like the idea of his life bar being essentially his magic meter, because that was like the Spawn thing that he would spend it to be on the mortal plane. Again,
one of those ideas of utilizing the source material for some cool design ideas in I'm not going to say it's a tired genre, but a very easily lazy genre.
Yeah.
This does make me want to. Does kind of make me want to start a series of like using Game Genie and playing on my very special SNES and playing through a bunch of these comic book beat 'em ups. Because I would
love to do Wildcats.
Wildcats, I have fond memories of Maximum Carnage. Like, I played a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right.
I also kind of want to go back to Wolverine's Adamantium Rage, which was not so much it was sort of a beat 'em up. Man, one of the weirdest games I've ever played in the comic book realm was the Wolverine game that came out around the time of X2 for PlayStation 2 that wasn't actually based on the movie. It was a separate story, and he was voiced by Mark Hamill. It's the weirdest.
Oh, that part's weird.
It's the weirdest thing, but it was a cool game.
Yeah. Oh man, we could do the Super Nintendo X-Men game that Capcom did.
Oh,
which was really good.
It was not Age of. Was it Age of Apocalypse?
No, it might have been Children of the Atom, but
no, Children of the Atom fighting game.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mutant. Oh, maybe it was Mutant Madness. It was one of those. I definitely know the one you're talking about.
Clone Wars was the second Genesis one, and I don't think there was there a subtitle for the first X-Men?
No,
Genesis
it was just
game?
X-Men.
It was just X-Men.
The first X-Men game on the Sega Genesis is still one of my favorite comic book games because it has one of the coolest features I've ever seen in a video game. I know Geoff and I have talked about this, but on the second to last stage, you're in Mojo's like dream world fighting Mojo, who had like that weird TV world. And when you defeat him, Professor X shows up on the monitors and like everything is flashing. You have to reset.
Oh, right, the second controller. The reset thing, yeah.
You had to reset the video game console to reboot the Danger Room, and then it brought you out of the Danger Room for the final stage. And like, it doesn't tell you to do that. I think it's in the instruction manual, but it doesn't tell you to do that. And I just remember getting stuck for ages until a friend told me, because back then, like, if you didn't have a strategy guide, you were SOL, and like, it's just the coolest mechanic that to reset the danger room, which had gone. The story of the X-Men game, if anyone doesn't know, is that the danger room went haywire and the X-Men are trapped in it. And to get out in that second to last stage, you had to reset the console to reset the danger room. It's just brilliant to me. That's so cool.
I think that's really cool. I will say that it is breaking the gameplay loop.
Yes.
The things you would expect to do for a video game.
Yeah.
So without that being set up, it is very frustrating.
Of course. Well, yeah, but like some of my favorite things in video games are when they go against your expected knowledge. It's why Undertale continues to be one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
It preys on your original ideas of how RPGs are meant to work. And like that's the same thing with that game for Genesis. Is like it preys on what you expect to have to do for a game like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I remember this mechanic, and when I said second controller, I was thinking of the Metal Gear Solid thing. But because I was just thinking like weird game, I was like, it's one of those that are like it's a system level thing. Like
Yeah.
like unplug the video feed for a second there, and then plug it back in, or kind of level stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Keith, with all due respect, I agree with you on all counts except Arcade's Revenge. That game was shit.
That's
Most of the
terrible.
stages
Jesus
suck.
Christ, Keith.
Like the storm stage where you're underwater, it was impossible. It was just bad. It's a bad game. The design of that was bad. Like there were cool stages, like the Gambit stage running from Juggernaut was cool, and what was the other one? The Wolverine. Oh no, Wolverine was running from Juggernaut. Like
Matt, take off. Or fly up into the air for a second here, because this is the final fight, so we should before we get into it.
Yeah.
I don't think he can fly, which it would be interesting if he could. That would change this game.
He just flies up and grabs you. That'd be
that'd be really cool.
Oh,
he does that.
He does his bomb thing. I
was
have
about to
infinite
say,
lives.
yeah.
But like, I mean, I did love that game though. I did love Arcade's
Star
Revenge.
Tropics.
But like, it was a bad game. It was a bad game.
And you can still love it, but while also knowing it's a bad game. These are things.
I loved Adamantium's Revenge, and I believe that also was not great. It was definitely not easy. It was a very difficult game.
Speaking of difficult, like Cyborg is just throwing those like bombs out at you, which is just like that's not.
Like
when I
kept dying to him before, I was not like doing it for the lulz. Like he is relentless, and it sucks.
So
the soundtrack was very good.
I feel like something we should do after this is, after you've beaten the game, you should spend a little time, see how far you get without infinite lives.
I've already done it. I got to stage 2 and then couldn't get any further.
Well, but at this point, you've now played through the whole game, so you know what's coming.
Surely you've mastered the art of being Superman.
You've become soft because you have spent so much time invulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Hank Henshaw has a lot of anger.
God.
Yeah.
Just...
So for any listeners not familiar with what we were talking about with the whole Reed Richards thing, so Hank Henshaw began as a parody of the Fantastic Four. Specifically, he was the Reed Richards character, and everyone died of cancer or radiation poisoning, or however you want to describe it, and except for Henshaw, because his thing allowed him to transfer machines, and so he was able to survive that way by then possessing Superman's rocket, flying off into space, and then using the rocket to recreate the DNA of Superman, and then then having cyborg parts so he could control it because he could control machines, and then he comes back, and that's the story there.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. And I was saying in the episode, like, total missed opportunity to have the body turn into a Bizarro at points. Like, that could have been how they revealed that he was a fake Superman. Because, like, the cloning process should have just failed and turned into a Bizarro. That would have been really cool.
That would have been cool.
Case, do you remember, is there, because you beat it the other day also, is there a splash screen, like, at the end, like, that says the end or something that I'll be able to take a screenshot of? Okay, cool.
Yep.
I need to update my Twitter thread, all right? I'm online a lot. I get it. I'm too online. It's fine.
What is?
Base.
Yeah, there's more than a few missed opportunities with Hank Henshaw. And no, Bohemian, I absolutely agree that there's something fun to do a little bit with the I hate the superhero because they couldn't save us, but when it's your entire thing, you don't need to appear that much.
It was also so weird to have Cyborg teamed up with Superboy Prime, and both of them have Sinestro Corps rings, because then, like, the Cyborg's whole deal was that he was Superman but more powerful and crazy, And to have that also with Superboy Prime, who was Superman but more powerful and crazy, like was kind of a. It's like, well, what's the difference? I guess Prime is the main villain in this story, so he's the more important.
Superboy Prime with weird fourth wall metavision.
Right.
I still think he's a fun character. I know I'm crazy, but
a lot of people really like him. I could see the appeal for the character. I don't think they did it very well.
Superboy Prime has all of the hallmarks of Yoda with a lightsaber. An idea that seems real cool in a moment. You're really excited. But the longer you think about it, the angrier you get.
That's fair.
You know what's wild? The recent the Superman Batman World's Finest book actually did kind of a similar story and way better because it was Mark Waid writing it instead of Geoff Johns, because they revealed the origin of Magog. And that character they actually set up as being someone from a different reality who was like all of a sudden, oh my God, superheroes are real and I've got powers and this is crazy. But he fucks up all the time because he's got sadness and guilt and or survivor's guilt and all this stuff going on, which is so cool. And that's how he breaks, because Superman tries to take him under his wing and fails. That's a way better version of it all. And then Superboy Prime is the same idea. It's just not I love the idea that he is disappointed by comics and then also does this violence and is traumatized by his own act of doing violence, but then it just turns into generic I'm gonna murder everyone villain, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, and that's one of those where you have all of the design and the idea getting passed around between different writers, and everyone's takes on it sort of getting the edges shaved off until you basically just get, I'm mad, I'm gonna do some murders. Yeah.
And Urban Bohemian, I also really like his original story, and I really love favorite Superman story, or at least in my top 3, is Superman's Secret Identity, which originally was conceived of as a Superboy of Earth Prime story. I think there's such wonderful fodder for storytelling from this perspective of doing the inverse of the Flash of Two Worlds kind of story, where it's the comic books you read all along were real. Doing that with Superman in this bigger realish world was so cool. And then just to turn him into kind of a pathetic villain is disappointing.
I like that Closter and all these guys just lost at the pony races.
This is when the game first starts, this is one of the first stills they show us, and they just look. It's just they look so upset. It's just so sad. The guy on the right especially is
Yeah, it's so weird that they have this level at all. When you think about it, they have so few art assets and they reuse so many villains, and then it's let's have that whole first level be characters that we never see again.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's mostly punk rock thugs the entire game after that.
It's punk rock thugs, and then the soldier style ones, the Warworlders, which also are the Cadmus characters, the Cadmus Flyers or the Worlder Flyers and stuff. It would at least be nice to have a couple additional designs for a few of those characters if instead we didn't have that whole level. The only one that gets reused is Tick, the little squat guy who becomes a Worlder. Wow, I can't say those words.
I am from
It's just why did you have that priority for a thing? And then also Closter, which looks so much like Doomsday, isn't the same model as Doomsday.
Nope.
And you're why did you waste your time with this character?
Customer service at the Fortress of Solitude. Sorry.
I keep waiting to see. I still can't believe this game was made by Blizzard. I thought I knew every game they made. And yes, I know Activision Blizzard sucks. Their executives can get fucked. But I grew up a big Blizzard fan, and I never knew this game was made by them. I had no clue until I played it.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
It is cool to see customer service acknowledged. I agree.
Sambo the cat does hard work.
Yeah, hell yeah, Sambo the cat, and a very special thanks to more people and DC. Folks at DC Comics. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you.
But those
Thank
aren't
you
the
for playing.
creators. Those must be
No. Those are the people they worked with to I don't know.
Yeah, at least they
All these
credit
art
Jerry Siegel and
assets
Joe
came from
Shuster.
them.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
that's cool.
Yeah. Such a. Yeah, so this is the end screen.
Oh, that's neat.
the world is safe.
Thanks to the Sorry.
Right.
The Super Buff girls, boys, Super Buff. There we go.
That's a
Nailed
pretty
it.
cool splash screen, though. I like that. I'm definitely going to save that. I had saved a different one just in case.
Yeah, that's going to be the central image for the episode art when we do this.
Okay. Well, while I am opening up Microsoft Paint and saving this image, why don't Case, you and Jmike talk a little bit about your pod and like plug the hell out of it. Do the thing. Like where you both can be found online, where Men of Steel can be found, all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is a crossover between Pod and Men of Steel. We wrote certain POV shows, and Men of Steel started off because Jmike and I were doing.
It started off because of spite.
Spite, yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jmike and I were would always be subjected to on episodes of certain POV and Scruffy Nerf Herders by Ben and Addy for all this like hate for Superman, and we'd be like, Superman's pretty cool, and then we would like talk about Superman after we like record for like an hour afterwards, like just standing outside of my house and stuff like that, and I'd like loan Jmike comics, and then eventually I was like, you know what, let's do this. Let's have like some positivity about this archetype. It's like a lot of fun to be like, yeah, what if you had Superman? That'd be pretty cool, huh? And like that starts with Superman. So we're like, let's do a show about it. And so we talk about Superman specifically, but also like a tangential stuff because it's like the same archetype. You know, we'll talk about Invincible, or we'll talk about characters who are based on Superman, or even like more abstract ones that are reaches. But it's still all coming down to the same power fantasy. And we want to talk about how that makes us feel, and like why is that inspiring to us? Like where does that push us to be better people, and where is it kind of a pedantic thing that kind of like pushes us too far?
That archetype thing goes a long way. We did like 2 months of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that Wonder Woman's not even that far away from the Superman archetype right there.
That movie was, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
they kept pushing it away.
That's fair.
Although, you know what? We also recently looked at the Man of Steel mini from John Byrne, and I would say that if you had adapted that to screen in 2019, it would look a lot like Wonder Woman 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
But yes, that was a weird scenario where we had started doing some Wonder Woman coverage because the movie was coming out, and then it got pushed back, and we're like, I guess we're just going to keep doing Wonder Woman coverage. And so we looked at like every pilot that the character had ever had. The 60s pilot that was by the team that did the Batman and Robin, or like the Batman 60s show, and that one did not go to series. We looked at the 70s one where she is a non-powered spy. That one also did not go to series. I'm not sure if that one's streaming anywhere. The 60s one you can find on YouTube. The 70s one was on DC Universe, and that back in the day was like a great tool for us. I'm not sure if it's on HBO Max or not. HBO Max, good.
Let that be buried out in the desert somewhere.
Well, this was fun. I'm glad that we got to do this. This was Case's idea, and I had a blast playing this mediocre Superman game, but talking about cool Superman stuff. Thank you, everyone who joined us. There will be an episode. So if you're curious about why we did this A, because it was fun, and B, because in the coming weeks there's going to be an episode about this game that we're going to do for Men of Steel, with Geoff and myself joining them on the pod. So you should definitely subscribe to Men of Steel on your podcast platform of choice to catch that. Also, Geoff and I do a podcast called Fun and Games. We've been doing it for quite some time. It is a exploration of the video game industry, the people who make games, and people who love games. We also have a sub-series called Side Quests, where different hosts every episode talks about a game they love and why they love it. You can find it at certainpov.com as well, as on any podcast platform you like. Also, if you like me and want to support me in the things I do, I no longer have a personal Patreon, but I do have a Patreon with Geoff for Fun and Games. And you can join at the $3, $5, and $10 level. It all goes right back into the podcast to grow our audience, get stuff for the show, travel, better mics, whatever it takes, like to just make the show better. So if you want to do that, we'd be super grateful too. You don't even have to listen to the show. I mean, we'd love for you to, but like if you just want to throw money at us because you like us, that'd be cool too. Otherwise, you can rate and review us and Men of Steel on your podcast platform of choice, because that also really helps and costs you literally nothing. Thanks everyone for
time.
Yeah,
a little bit of time.
To subscribe and then just download and then just delete immediately if you don't want to listen. Like that's fantastic for us. Like wonderful stuff.
Thanks to everyone for being here. It was nice that I haven't streamed in, 6 months, and everyone literally showed up to hang out. So thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of my regulars in chat, and that's always nice. I'd like to do more of this. My time hasn't really allowed for it, but I'm hoping to at some point get to do it. But I'm going to wrap up now because Otis is pacing, and I think he's hungry, and this dog gets what he wants. So thanks, everyone, for being here. Case, Jmike, Geoff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Thank you for having us, Matt.
Cool. All right.
So good to chat with all of you.
So we're going to head off here. Good night, everybody. And we will talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.